Welcome to the second part of Chapter 1 of MarketingBA's online marketing quick course. This part will be discussing the marketing mix, one of the most commonly taught theories in marketing. Let's begin with some short history behind the marketing mix. The concept was developed by Neil Borden in the 1950s and was later published in 1964 to define what a marketing manager does. The marketing mix will be introduced now and will be further explained in later chapters. When it was published in 1964, it contained 12 different elements. It's not the most commonly taught form of the marketing mix, but let's start by looking at these 12 points to better understand the simplified version that will be introduced subsequently. However, before we get started, the meaning of the recurring term product needs to be clarified. A product can be something tangible, something that can be touched, a good, such as a bike, computer, or TV, as well as something intangible, a service, such as reparations or an internet supplier. Bear this in mind when the word product appears. In modern society, services are becoming more and more dominant, and it's therefore important that you understand that a service is also considered a product when you're introduced to different marketing theories. Certain benefits, features, and functions of a good can also be intangible, but these are still part of the product. Now let's look at the 12 elements of the marketing mix. The first one is product planning, which is the ongoing process of adapting the product to meet market requirements and customer needs. This is essential in order to keep customers satisfied and the product relevant in comparison to what is demanded on the market. If customers are demanding a 60 gigabyte iPod, you can't offer them a 2 gigabyte one, nor would you offer a $200 iPod to someone demanding a $50 MP3 player. The second element of the marketing mix is pricing. This is the act of deciding an appropriate price for a product. Imagine that a competitor is selling a laptop for $400. If you try to sell a laptop with similar features and benefits for $800, then your product will be overpriced and there will be no or little demand for it. On the other hand, if you sell the laptop too cheap, you might not cover the costs involved in producing it. There are many aspects to consider when setting the price. The third element is packaging. How a product is packaged is very important. Poor packaging can lead to a poor first impression of a product. For example, if you're selling a quality product, you need to package it accordingly. The next point is promotions. This element includes any form of publicity that the company selling the product or the product itself receives. Any time that a customer comes in contact with the product, it's being promoted. Advertising is the fifth element. It's similar to the previous point, but it's rather a type of promotion. It focuses on using advertisements to promote a company or product and can be defined as a paid announcement. Examples of ads are the banners that you find on most websites, the posters you see in town, and the commercials that you see on TV and hear on the radio. The next element is branding. The term refers to the process of creating a unique name and image for a product. This can be done by promoting a product through advertising using recurring themes and messages. Take Apple's iPod as an example. In reality, it's an MP3 player. However, most people refer to it as an iPod because Apple has successfully branded the product. Branding can be a very strong competitive tool. Products such as iPods and iPhones are proof of this. Personal selling is the seventh element. It's commonly referred to as face-to-face selling and is exactly what it sounds like. The classic salesman knocking on doors selling vacuum cleaners is a perfect example of personal selling. Even though this sales technique might seem a bit outdated, it's still very effective and several companies still use it. The next element is channels of distribution. This element refers to the manner in which products are distributed from the seller to the buyer. Sometimes a producer sells directly to the customer, but in most cases intermediaries such as wholesalers or retailers are involved in the process. An example could be a package of milk. Milk is most commonly purchased in a grocery store, and a common sales process would be that first the milk is produced on a farm. A wholesaler then buys large quantities of milk from the producer and sells them to a grocery store, a retailer. Finally, you buy the milk from the grocery store. Money has been transferred in each sale. The milk was the cheapest for the wholesaler and the most expensive for you, as both the wholesaler and the grocery store raised the initial price to make the exchange worthwhile. The ninth element is physical handling. This concerns the physical part of the distribution and production process. It is most important for manufacturing companies, but applies to, for example, a grocery store as well, where products are constantly being moved around. Display is the next element in the marketing mix. The way the product is displayed is important since in many cases it's the first contact the customer has with the product. A company needs to decide where they want to display their product, and a common decision nowadays is if the product is going to be displayed in an actual store or on a website. Some companies choose to only display their products online. Some choose both, and it's becoming rare for companies to display their products in a store without a complementary website. The next element is servicing. Servicing usually takes place before and after the sale of a product. To facilitate a sale, some form of service is provided, and to ensure customer satisfaction, an after-sale service is usually available. Such a service might include repairs or a helpline. In industries where the competition is tough and products are very similar, good service becomes important as it might be the only difference between two companies. The final element of the marketing mix is fact-finding and analysis. In order to market a product successfully, the product as a whole needs to be analyzed as well as different markets. This is done through the fact-finding process that is then used in the analysis. For example, if you want to market a new car, you need to find facts about the car first. Let's say the car is environmentally friendly, costs $20,000, and is being sold from a rather unknown brand. An analysis of this situation could be that first, the car needs an appropriate brand. This could be accomplished through an organized advertising campaign. In this campaign, you would probably focus on the fact that the car is environmentally superior to other cars. Once the branding process is complete, another step could be sending out more targeted advertising to certain individuals, geographic areas, etc. The process depends on what facts are available and what conclusions can be drawn from them. Now that you have some basic knowledge of the marketing mix, let's look at the simplified version by Eugene Jerome McCarthy, commonly known as the 4 Ps. These should now be much easier to understand with the knowledge you've previously acquired. The 4 Ps are product, what is being sold, the design, the packaging, the labeling, etc. of the product, place, how the product is distributed and where it is displayed, price, the price of the product to the customer and the seller's costs, promotion, the message the seller sends the potential customer to convey the product's value. On the Chartered Institute of Marketing's website, you'll find 3 additional Ps in the marketing mix, which is referred to as the 7 Ps. This is an extended form of the marketing mix. The 3 additional Ps are people, the employees that come in contact with customers whom require training in approaching these customers successfully, process, how the service is delivered to the customer, the information that customers receive, sales follow-ups to keep customers satisfied, etc., and physical evidence concerning the uncertainty customers feel about services as they're intangible and customers can only rely on feedback and reviews from other customers. The 7 Ps will resurface throughout the course in several chapters. We've now reached the end of part 2 of chapter 1. The next part will be discussing marketing as a process. Stay tuned at MarketingBA.com.